WNEP proudly presents the premier outdoor show in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, your window to the great outdoors. Tonight on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life,
we'll spend some time with the Rattlesnakes of Noxen at this yearly Roundup. And we'll make sure you're ready to practice for the archery season.
Our sights are set. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Ken Hunter and I'm here with, still vacationing, the original Bahama Mama, Don Jacobs.
This is summer, man.
I guess.
You like this shirt?
If I went to Virginia Beach, Jake, I would be wearing this.
You'd still see, not me.
On the beach.
I'd be in a tank top.
I
and my
guess.
But do you like this shirt?
That's nice. I don't know what for, but it's nice.
I'm glad you said that because my mother made me this shirt.
It's a beautiful shirt. I love it.
You're a wise man.
I love that
You're
shirt.
a wise man. We're going to go from attire to snakes. Are you afraid of snakes?
Actually, I kind of like snakes, but I know summer season is snake time, and you got to be careful what you're doing.
And there is a traditional event that takes place every year in the spring at the Noxen Fire Department and the Noxen Monroe Sportsman's Club. It's called the Noxen Township Rattlesnake Roundup.
The Noxen Volunteer Fire Company's Rattlesnake Roundup. It's our major, main fundraiser for the year, and
keeps you guys going then, huh?
Right. This is what pays the bills. We've been doing it. It's been a rattlesnake hunt in Noxen for plus 30 years, plus or minus.
Put your hook up by the head, grab his tail. That's it. Watch his head. And then let him work out straight. That's good. Now let him crawl forward and drop his tail in slowly.
Let his tail go. Before we will accept the snake, they have to have a permit, which are issued by the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. They are not available in any store. They can only be, they're only available from their office in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. With that, there's record keeping that you agree you will turn in annually, or you're not permitted. Your permit is revoked for the next year.
You're measuring the length of that snake now?
Yes, this measures the length from the start of the rattle segments to the tip of the head.
What do you get on this one then?
49 inches.
Wow.
Each hunter is assigned a color. You'll see some of the guys even carry a can of spray paint with them. Will paint their snakes in the field. Every snake, every group of snakes will be assigned a color so they can be returned to their natural habitat. Okay, here we're going to we'll count the subcaudal scales. See male or female? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20. Probably give him 21. That would make him, chances are he's a male. We'll also count the rattles. 2, 3. 12 rattles. Now we'll also paint the rattle. That will identify him from where he was caught by the participants, so he's returned to the same den after the hunt tomorrow evening. All our data is logged into a logbook, which is then compiled onto forms that are sent to the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission after our event. We're actually working as their field people, just following some of what goes on with the hunts, and you know, the snake population in general. We're sort of their eyes and ears. As we measure them, that's what we do in the box. The first box you'll see we measure them for length. We use a rolling map scale over a piece of plexiglass. There's soft foam under it, so the snakes aren't harmed. There's prizes for the largest rattlesnake, as in length. Most rattles, largest non-poisonous snake, most species of snakes, largest copperhead, and with one of the conditions of your permit with the Fish Commission, you're only allowed one snake per season. Once you catch that snake and put him back, you can catch another. If you would gather one snake and harvest it, that's it. You're done for the season. I think very few, if any, of the hunters here harvest. Everybody's more into the catch and release.
So actually no snakes get killed here.
Correct. Oh, one of the conditions of our hunt, all snakes have to be returned to the wild. Rattlesnake-wise, now you have to realize the last 6 years I think we've had rain, but we've been 40 to 60 snakes.
That's a lot of snakes.
A couple years we were up there close to 80. We fill out an application for a license, and that's based off our previous history, whether we're given one or not. With that, the hunters are allowed to catch 2 snakes, 1 per day. So there's a little added benefit for them, and we also have a prize then for the largest combined length. The snake they catch Saturday plus the snake they catch Sunday.
Okay.
And, you know, sometimes you'll have somebody will end up with over 100 inches of rattlesnake.
Wow, that's a lot of snake.
Right.
Thank you, Lou Hackling, for I guess giving us a tour of what could freak some people out inside that pen.
A lot of people wouldn't be excited about that, Jake.
What you're looking at now is the Fish and Boat Commission's poster that they hand out on the snakes. And Ken, you're pretty familiar with this. Obviously, we have the gold phase and the black phase rattlesnake. What are the other two?
Well, we have 3
ones?
poisonous snakes in Pennsylvania: the timber rattler, the copperhead, and the Massasauga, which is only in Jefferson County, Pennsylvania. That's far western part of the state.
Right.
We won't find them around here.
But snakes in general are good for the environment.
Oh, I think so. Sure.
And actually, the rules behind snake hunts and snake permits are designed to make sure that there's rattlesnakes and other snakes around for a very long
You don't want
time
them to become an endangered species, and they aren't that harmful if you're careful.
Absolutely, and we'll let you be careful, and we'll tell you how to be careful a bit later on in the program.
Yeah, we're going to go to a break right now, but stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk about getting ready for archery season.
We'll have even more POL Classics on WNEP Plus right after this. Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. You know, just a few minutes ago, Ken was jokingly making fun of the Hawaiian-style shirt that my mother made for me. Although I know a lot of people that are still thinking vacations, they're thinking about traveling, they're thinking about spending time in the backyard, and not necessarily at an archery range.
No, this is the last thing on people's mind right now.
It is on mine.
But, you know, really now's a good time, Jake, to be thinking about your bow. And actually, this is an old bow. We went out to a shop in Pennsdale, Pennsylvania. Lefty's the guy's name, that's what they call him. It's Jim Berge, and he went over this bow with me to tell me if it was well suited to me and whether or not I need a new one. And let's take a look and see what happens out of Jim Berge's place. So this is what I've been using.
Okay.
I'm kind of hung up on my old bow, and I know there's some problems, and things have changed, haven't they, over the years?
A lot of things have changed over the
Well,
years.
we're going to talk about that, but first of all, tell me a little bit about my bow and some things I might need to be watching for. You're going to check some things for me?
Yeah, I'm going to check, first of all, we're going to check your poundage on your bow. And then we're going to check for your limbs and your cams and stuff and see how things are. But let me check the poundage on us and see how the poundage is. Okay, you're running right about 60 pounds. And you're holding about 35, so something around there. Next we're going to do is we're going to check your tiller measurement. That's basically telling me that your limbs are screwed in about the same distance from one another. And you're still doing good there with that, so that's not a problem at all. Yeah, that's doing good. The next thing would be, I mean, you want to check your limbs. I mean, that's most important, that, you know, you got some wear on your limbs and stuff, and you want to check for cracks. And that definitely, we got a little crack there.
That's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing. I mean, we do have some wear showing right there, whether it's just peeling up a little bit. On these older bows, the main thing is right where these locked on. I mean, you'll get them cracking right where them bolts go through that, because that's a thing of the past.
They don't do this anymore.
Not even close. No.
See, that's how long it's been since I
yes,
looked at a new bow.
this was the original way of doing things. They actually put a metal clamp around there and put your cams on there. So that's changed a lot. String-wise, as soon as you start seeing this fraying, you've got string wear. Okay. I don't know if you wax or a lot.
Once a year.
Okay.
At the beginning of the season. Not often enough?
Not often enough.
Okay.
I mean, try and keep them as waxed as you possibly can.
Am I ready for a new
You're
string?
ready for a new string, definitely. And then the next thing you're going to notice is what we call teardrops. Mm-hmm. They're plastic cables, steel cables. That's kind of thing of the past too. We're actually using string material now for your cables. And what that does is gives us the ability to adjust on the bows. But what you want to look for on here is that none of them are fraying, that the plastic's coming off of it, that you're not getting any breakage, which there's fine. I don't see any problem whatsoever with that. This bothers me. That bothers me a lot.
So maybe it's just time to get a new bow. Forget this.
It might be time to hang this on the wall and just put it up.
Use this for carp hunting, maybe at the river.
Perfect.
That'd be good.
That would be perfect for carp hunting.
All right.
Because if you get really mad, you can throw it in at it. Yeah. But yeah, I would definitely put this as a carp bow now.
Okay.
Really keep an eye on it. That I don't want to see anybody get hurt. The biggest thing I want to show you right here is you take this, and I want you to look at your broadhead right here. Okay, we'll put a mark right there.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Oh my.
That is what I consider not spun properly. Okay, you do need to spin broadheads, and broadheads need to be shot because they don't hit the same place as your field points.
Don't do all your practicing with the field point.
Well, yeah, that's right. You still need to shoot a couple of your broadheads to make sure, because a lot of times they don't hit the same spot.
Well, we've moved outside now on a nice warm day. We did some work inside. I'm going to start with my old bow, my antique here. We're going to talk a little bit about, or we did talk about how actually it's set up pretty decent. Jim said it's not that bad. We're going to take a look and see how it shoots outside. Then when we're done with the old one, we're going to go to a brand new bow over here, which I'm sure he's going to spoil me with, and I'm going to want before this is over. We'll see what the differences are going to be. So let's start off. I'll see how this one's shooting. Jim's going to keep an eye on it.
Good. It's good.
Take a look at it, Jim. See what we have here. Now, I'd probably have a kill shot on a deer every time, but actually, if you were shooting competition, I'd have to do a lot better than that, I'm sure.
If you were in competition, yes, but in a hunting situation, that's real good.
I'm good with that.
Real good, yeah. If you can keep it in and around that dot, that's fine, because a deer has a lot bigger vitals than that even. So that's fine.
Now, that's the old bow, Jim.
Right.
I know we shoot the newer bow here at close range. I probably won't notice much difference, but it's going to start to show up.
Right, close range you won't notice the difference. The further back you go, you should start noticing a lot more difference in the comparison between the two bows.
15, 20 yards like we're at now,
15, 20 yards,
noticeable.
You're very proficient with your bow.
Okay.
So you're not having a problem, so yes, that'd be fine. But when you would get back to some longer shooting, you would definitely notice a difference in this bow, yes.
Keep an eye on me, see what I'm doing wrong or right.
I'll keep an eye on you.
Okay.
That was good, that was good. Okay.
Pull a little to the left.
You pull a little to the left.
I should have stuck with the first one. It's right there in the bullseye.
Yes, you should have stuck with that
I
first
should know
one.
when to quit.
Yes.
Well, Jim, we could probably kill a deer with that anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for helping us out with this. I think it's been great. I learned a lot about these things and all the fine points.
Oh.
Vitally important, I think, that the hunter look into this. Even if you're not a target shooter,
right.
The hunter really needs to look at some of these things.
Right. I mean, some of the new improvements have been major.
Sure enough. Well, thank you, Jim. Let's go pull those arrows.
Okay.
Out.
Well, as you can see, the bow is indeed old but reliable, and Lefty and I concluded that it does shoot well for me. It's actually well suited to me, Jake. There were a couple things we need to be careful of. It's getting old, and there's the possibility that the limb might be starting to crack. And I did like the bow I was shooting out there, so I think it might be time to start looking at a new bow. You're doing the same, aren't you?
Well, not bows. I'm going to switch to arrows. I've decided to change my arrows to carbon. I keep looking at this, and something like the Liberty Bell just keeps coming into mind. It's got a crack.
It's old,
it's
but it's
put
not
it away.
It's not that old.
You know, it may be well kept, but unused anymore.
This may become my new carp hunting bow.
Ooh,
not new, my carp hunting bow.
and only use it for that then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Right,
I think so.
There's some good tips for you anyhow if you want to get yourself blow off the dust off your bows.
Well, the point is, I think people need to start thinking about it now, because if you wait till right before the season and you do need to do something, it's too late to get it lined up and shot in. The season might be underway.
And of course, we'll have more for you on the upcoming archery season as we start doing more practicing and whatnot. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have a field tip and people and places, so stick around.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Of course, we were talking about snakes earlier, Jake, and it is the season for snakes.
That's right.
And one of our field staff members, Dale Butler, is going to tell us a little bit about how to be safe when you're out there in the woods around rattlesnakes.
If you hike, camp, or fish in Pennsylvania, it's a good idea to know about snakes. There's over 20 different kinds of snakes in Pennsylvania, and only 2 of them are poisonous, rattlesnakes and copperheads. You should learn to distinguish the difference between poisonous and non-poisonous snakes, especially if you plan on spending any time in the outdoors during the early spring to late fall. If you can't distinguish the difference, just treat them all as poisonous. Here's a few simple precautions in case of an encounter with a snake. 1, if you're walking through the woods on a wilderness trail, it's a good idea to carry a walking stick with you. This way you can tap the overhanging brush along the way. If you see a snake in the backyard, while you're out working in your garden, out through the grass, whatever, just step back away from the snake. Snakes aren't aggressive. They don't usually tend to follow. If you're walking through the woods and you come up on a log, step on the log rather than over it. Snakes use the shadow of the log to stay out of the direct sunlight. If you have to move objects, such as rocks, logs, wood piles, use a bar to move the object with. This will keep your hands free just in case a snake is taking up residence underneath that object. Never handle a dead snake. The venom could still be in the glands of the snake, and it's possible to be injected even though the snake is dead. By following these few simple precautions, you can make your outdoor activity both safe and enjoyable. This is Dale Butler, Pennsylvania Outdoor Life Field Staff Representative with your tips of the week.
Hey, thanks, Dale, for those great tips. I'm sure they're going to come in handy this summer.
But you know what? I don't care how much you preach to somebody. If they don't like snakes, they're not going to go anywhere near where a snake is.
Stay away from it.
They just
don't touch it.
My father-in-law's like that. He
That's
just
right.
stays away from anything that may say
right.
snake on it.
That's right. Stay away from it. Don't worry about it. So.
We're going to switch from snakes to people's favorite photos. We call this segment Pennsylvania People and Places. We'll begin this week's look at Pennsylvania People and Places with 13-year-old Joshua Angela of Hunlock Creek and his first buck with the bow. Joshua shot this 8-pointer on the first day of the archery season last year while hunting with his father, his uncle, and his grandfather. Good luck this year, Joshua. 12-year-old Brian Mennick of Dalton shot his first buck last year. Brian was hunting on the opening day of the rifle season when this respectable spiker came by. Brian was hunting with a 25-06, and he was hunting with his father. Nice going, Brian. Now let's check out a couple of turkey photos. Russell Redhead Jr. of Kingston certainly has something to be happy about. Just listen to this. Russell is seen here with the 23-pound gobbler he took while hunting at the Clark Farm in Beaumont. This slammer was carrying a 10-inch beard. They don't get much bigger than that. Try to do. Our next 2 photos come to us from Chad Johnson of German. This first photo shows Chad on the left and Bill Clark on the right, and they're both kneeling behind their spring gobblers. Chad and Bill shot these turkeys minutes apart after calling them in. They both sported 6-inch beards. Chad also traveled to Quebec, Canada for a caribou hunt. Here we see Chad and the bull caribou he shot on the first day of the hunt. Chad tells us he's proud of the 200-yard shot he took uphill at this bull. You should be proud, Chad. With this happy hunter, we'll wrap up this week's look at Pennsylvania People and Places. And of course, we'd like to thank everybody that sends us those photos. And you know, Ken, I have yet to shoot a monster buck that I'd be proud of, a big catfish, a big fish, and so I'm never on that
Well,
set.
some of these people keep sending these things in. Where are they hunting? Where are they fishing? We need to find out some of this.
Call us! We want to go with you, right?
Yeah, we'll go with them sometime.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Ken, we've been all over the outdoors in this show. We did some rattlesnake hunting.
Yeah.
We got you ready for your archery.
Already.
How to hike, how to hike and be safe with snakes. And now we're going to talk about fishing.
Well, fishing's always in season as far as I'm concerned. So let's talk about some of these products that we have here to give away, Jake. Of course, we've got the slider hats. We're going to give 2 of those away from Slider Lures.
And these are crappy slider hats.
Crappy slider. We won't go anywhere else with
I'm not sure I'd want a hat with it, but okay.
But that'd be a nice hat to go fishing with.
Okay.
Now these lures, or these hooks right here, Gamakatsu hooks, very good hooks. These are worm hooks.
Okay.
And you would hook these a Texas rig style, where you actually go down through the end of the worm, come back up and embed that back into the worm a little bit. You can bring that right through the weeds, it won't hang up.
Okay.
But boy, when you set the hook, you better do a little power.
Now, whenever these are given to us by Ray Sahaki from Ray's Bait, it scares me when they're in jars like this.
I know. I don't know if some of this you should eat or not, but when you smell it, you know you don't eat it.
Right.
These are pork rinds.
Okay.
And they'll hook on the back of a jig and just make it a little more enticing to a bass. That looks like a frog, but I don't think it matters to the bass.
This one doesn't smell that bad,
No,
but I
this
know
one
down
does.
the line we are.
Yeah, that one smells pretty good.
Okay.
Now this is interesting. This is called smelly jelly. It comes in different colors, as you can see. Not to be confused with lip gloss.
No,
I understand that's happened.
Right, we tried that in the office. We had some of the women
some of the ladies
go
tried
like
it.
this and say, "Oh, I've never seen. Oh my, this is anchovy."
Really bad. This
That
is
is terrible.
crawfish, I think, right here. So that makes the lure a little more enticing as well. So, and you can put that on natural bait as well as a lure. Anything to entice the fish. And some of the tournaments I've been in lately, maybe I ought to give that a try.
Now, assuming that people are going out fishing, it's the middle of August. I mean, it's hot. The water's warm.
Yeah.
You doing anything different to catch the bass?
I'll tell you what, it's been a strange year. I'm involved in some tournament fishing as well as a lot of other folks I know, and the bass aren't hitting like they normally do. They seem to still be running a little bit behind in the season. We're fishing a little deeper, a little slower. The topwater bite hasn't really gotten that good yet. By now, we're usually smacking them hard on the topwaters.
Will it
I'm
get
looking
better?
forward to that. I think it's going to. I look forward to that every week. I'm looking forward to the topwaters to start
And
really
I think
taking
you and I
hold.
went out last year in September, and there was a good evening
Yes.
topwater bite.
Yeah.
So I've been there. I know what you're talking about. Let's spin the barrel out here. And as we're doing this, we're reminding people that this fall we will be dumping the barrel, having some contests, doing some exciting things, and that's sort of after I put away these clothes and go back to the camouflage.
I can't wait till he puts that away. Whoa.
What are we looking at here, Ken?
Well, let's see here who our lucky winner's going to be.
One winner.
We've got one winner. Oh boy, Albert Klimovich from Noxen.
From
here.
Noxen.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was one of the guys in the snake hunt.
Hey, that's right. That's what maybe he was one of them.
All right, well, have a good good week. Enjoy your fishing.
I will, and you have a nice vacation when you go away again.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We may be wrapping it up here, but for everybody here at Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, I'm Don Jacobs. For Ken Hunter and Brian Hollingshead and the entire team, we wish you the very best in the outdoors of Pennsylvania.
So long now.
Good night.
Pennsylvania Outdoor Life is a local presentation of WNEP TV. We're proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
Thank you for joining us for a look back at POL Classics. Now I'm going to invite you to join us every Sunday night at 6:30 on WNEP+.